Harry Kane will come back to Spurs and he will play until he breaks the Premier League.
Clip
He
this,
break the
baby.
record. He
Clip
is
this.
going to do it. You don't need to. I guarantee you.
Welcome back to the 97 Football Show, everybody. I'm your host, Super Mag, as you all know. And you should now finally be able to put a face to this voice, an OG voice. You should know from the former 97 Football episodes. If you know, you know. We're here with Daye today. Daye, say hello to the people for the first time, man, in person.
Hello, Dicey. Let's do it. I'm really excited to get to the world. It's been a while, too long actually.
Yeah, it's been a while, bro. It's been a while. But then we're here today. I'm very, very happy that we are here today. And I've said this to you off camera, but again, I will say congratulations to the Spurs on being this close. On being this close.
Uh,
We're this close to glory, man. So how does it feel for you, first of all? Let's start there.
it's been I'm trying not to think too much about it because I've done this. Remember in 2019,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was you. Where was you? I who were going
Yeah.
to be enjoying that. Who was going to be enjoying that soup. So I'm trying my hardest not to really. I'm really trying to enjoy the moment as much as because it's been a hard season for the team. It's been a hard
Hmm.
season on the fans, and to get this far, to get to a point where there's that opportunity, you have one hand, not really one hand on the trophy, but it's going to be you who's going to be united. So it's
Yeah.
at least fun in that sense where it's like you feel like you're just that close, and I think Bilbao is going to be fun. Like it's going to be really cool. It'll be a fun experience. I wish I could go. Ticket prices
Yeah.
are not cheap, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. Just I don't want to dream. I'm really starting to let myself try and enjoy it, but I'm also trying to like temper that expectation because to come this far and then to not do it would be very disappointing. But it's been in the Europa League side of it. I think it's been a pretty impressive feat. So I'm really
Hey,
happy about
man, there's a lot of places I would like to go there. But first of all,
that.
this team, and I saw a video of Ant saying it to the players in the dressing room that this is the group that he believes that will deliver something for Tottenham Hotspur. And honestly, I've seen a lot of Tottenham Hotspurs. I mean, in this new generation, there's been a lot of great teams. I don't even think this is the most talented team that I've seen from Tottenham Hotspur, but then there is something about this group that definitely your head coach believes. And how about you as the fans? Do you see what Ange sees in this group?
I think there's been a very interesting, at least online. It's hard to really gauge this thing because there's always three sects in terms of fans. There's the circle that you're most, at least from an online perspective, the circle that you're most engaged with. There's a circle outside of that, the general online fans, and then there's match play fans.
Mm,
And it does seem as though, to a certain degree, there has been this disconnect, at least from the fans, just in a general sense, at least specifically online, in terms of people who have kind of fallen away, at least in the league. Because I think everybody acknowledges that if you just isolate just what the league has been, it's been a very disappointing season. To not necessarily be in a relegation battle, but to be on the other side of the table, on the bottom half of the table, where it's if something falls a different way, one of the relegation types, one of the relegated teams is much better, or you know, to have lost as many games as a team as well. I think it's 19 right now. It's
yeah,
embarrassing to lose half your
yeah.
games in any
Okay,
context
good.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So on that side, there is definitely the acknowledgement that it's been a poor season, that people want much better, and it is now coming to a point whereby I think truly that Ange's job is entirely um dependent on if they go out and win in Bilbao.
Wow.
I
Wow.
do.
Okay. I didn't think I would
There
have that admission from
it's
Spanish.
it's
From
it's
okay.
it is a real discussion. There are people who are even go as far as to say that even if Ange won the Europa League, he should still go. That's kind of
Okay.
where some fans are. It's been a really interesting look in terms of just that aspect. But to circle back to your original question in terms of that, I do think that there is something very special about this group of players, in particular because I think, in my experience as a Spurs fan, this is going back to the Poch days, this feels like the most, with the exception of all of the Poch years up until 18, 19, 19, 20, not 18, 19, 19, 20, when they lost in Champions League. They went
Yeah.
out and bought Ndombele, they bought Celso, they bought Sessegnon, they bought Jack Clark. So in terms of when just with that, just taking that season and everything past it, this is by far and away the most belief. I think this is the most belief I've seen that squad of players engage in that match. Just because in prior years, when it has gone really bad, it hasn't been hard to see. There have been reports coming out as players complaining about the training, believing that the tactics are still, believing that there is this one-minded, one way of play that is just not
Rumors
applicable
or real
in terms of
reports
that.
there?
I think there's a bit of a combination. I always like to think where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't think,
Okay.
and that to me is the contrast. That has not happened once in the Ange era. These players believe in manager. He is an excellent communicator, and the one thing he has done from the day he's gotten here is that he's tried to change the narrative of the club, and he has tried to stand up for the club in as many ways as possible. Which I think, for me at least, is becoming my I think it's now starting to become the most important thing that comes in sports. It has nothing to do with what you know as a manager. I think it is how you humanize yourself as a person to the fans and to your players. And I think that's actually the reason why a lot of players have still been engaged and still believe and still want to succeed because the
Yeah.
manager has done such an incredible job of humanizing himself and getting these guys on side and telling people that, this is what we are, this is who we are. And he fights for his players, he defends his players. I've rarely ever seen a situation, if any, really, where he's thrown his players under the bus and he said, I do this one thing. Because this was the Mourinho Cup, this was the
Except
Conte
Werner,
Cup.
maybe. Except
Yeah, but the Werner thing is a bit weird. But I think even
yeah.
with Werner, because he's not a permanent player, there is a little bit more of like
Oh,
you can
okay.
kind
Yeah.
of get away with statements like that. Either which way, he was never an integral player in terms of, one of the core, like say 18, 19 players where it's like these are one of the guys you're going to. So I think that
Yeah.
statement he kind of get away with. It wasn't a great, I don't think it was a fantastic moment, but I do think that he did want to encourage Werner to be better. Anyway, all this aside, I do think that out of all the managers I can remember, at least, managing Spurs. I've not seen a manager, maybe Harry Redknapp, also more historic, not historic, it's not long ago, but a lot of
Yeah.
fans who have much more tenure than I do would say that, that is the manager that's obviously not, we're discounting Poch here because, that's a completely different bond. But Harry Redknapp, so this does feel like the first manager who has really, 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 really been able to connect with his players. Players believe in him. All the players talk about, we want to fight for the manager. We've prepared an interview
Wow, that's
not
good.
long ago about wanting to fight for the manager. I've seen Madison say it, you know, the captaincy group he's picked up on in Matters, Romero, and so on, they all believe in him. And I think he has done a really good job in integrating young players. So we're talking about the two key
Mikey.
standout guys not even just Mikey, because I think there was a period there where he wasn't playing, particularly because
Yeah.
I think he was stupid. It's just they said he was sick for a bit, like a really big
Oh,
he was sick. I think it was like I don't actually think he was sick for as long as he was. He might have. I just think that there was that decision to take him out of the spotlight and not try and let these things get to him, which I do
yeah.
think I have been really happy about how he's handled that. So, but importantly, it's been Bergval, it's been Archie Gray, it's
Okay, okay.
been
The actual
yeah, the actual young players that he's been trying
that
to
play a
integrate.
lot, yeah.
Gray, he had to kind of play for a little bit there. I think Bergval has been incredible. He got a new contract signed earlier
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
month. It
It's a
was no,
big
not
one.
this month, last month. It was a big
Yeah.
one to get that guy to probably because that's not like a first team real integrated player. This does feel like a really tight bond of players who are pulling for each other. And even when the season has looked tough, there hasn't been any form of mutiny or disenfranchisement or just
Mm-hmm.
basically people being anti what the process has been. I think a lot of players have actually truly believed, what Ange is selling. And irrespective of what has happened in the league, the players do truly believe in him, and I do think that I don't think in any context I have been ready to see Ange go, irrespective of the way the season has gone, because I do think that having somebody who galvanizes a squad, is able to understand people, is able to understand the media, and is able to defend the club, sometimes it's just more important than what he's bringing to you on the field. I do think that Ange is a
No, but
very
then
good manager.
also I also think that he has a really good idea on the field as well. So if you couple all those things with his on-field idea, I think that is really worth sticking with.
Absolutely. So for me, I think irrespective of what happens to Bilbao, that speech where players seem engaged, um, they listen to him, they respect him, you know, they they just care. I've not seen a manager, not Conte, not Nuno, not Mourinho, who
Yeah,
the players just felt as though this is a guy we're pulling for throughout the entire stretch. Now, he might still go ahead. They might lose the Europa League final, heaven forbid not. They might go ahead and lose the
yeah,
Europa League final, and the manager gets sacked. I personally don't know where you go from here. I think that this is the guy you need to stick with. You need to acknowledge that it was a difficult season. You need to go out. You need to prepare again because I don't think they were prepared for Europe in it at all possible at all. And essentially, the worst possible thing that could happen happened. I do think that they need to go out,
which is the injury
give yourself
crisis.
the
Is how
insurance policy. Yeah, I do
yeah.
think that I do think if you did this first season 100 times again, this would be the worst outcome. I truly believe that. I
Really?
truly do believe that. I
Oh
truly do
shit!
believe that. I truly do believe that
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
do
Okay.
think I remember, I wish I had knew this number off the top of my head, but the record where his entire defense has played together is like, I think they win half their games. It's like 15-1. I don't have that number at all on top of my head, but the team is really good. He's not had his starting defense for half the season. He's not had his two best centre backs for what feels like much longer than that, and he's had to chop and change his team over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So he has done exceptionally well in Europe, but the team cannot go into next season thinking that this squad in its current configuration is enough to be able to fight on multiple fronts, particularly if they go ahead and win Europa League and have to play Champions League football. They will not be able to survive it. And if this is unfortunately what happens again, we are not going to be having this same conversation. We get one time
Mm,
to make this mistake. I think they do need to go out. And I really do hope that they go out and they give him what he needs, and they go out and back him any way possible. Because I do think that this is a very special manager, someone who is very set on his ways, but someone who I do think towards the back half, at least the last 2 months, has started to fully understand that there are ways we can't just be
hmm.
we are who we are. I do think you can do I do think you are able to believe you are who you are, but there has just have to be that level of tweaking and changing. And
Adoption.
it was over the two ties in Bodo, the team wasn't as aggressive or as attacking as they normally are. He was very intent on how he pressed. The second leg, I remember watching him, he pressed with four players. He pressed so he went the reason why he started with Charleston and not tell is that he wanted to press high, he wanted to press hard. So he pressed with Solanke and Richarlison too high.
Really
And
good.
then he allowed Brennan to press on the right and Kulusevski, who was his left-sided CM, to press up on the left side. And then his CMs tucked in and everybody else came forward. And fullbacks would press on either side, particularly Doggy on the left side. So I
That was
do
really good.
think he does understand that he can't just play this high aggressive fullbacks flying on either side and then this really compact midfield. There is ways and methods to adapt and change. And I for one have never been a fan of pragmatic set of approaches. I've seen pragmatic managers and I really do get annoyed by a manager who changed and changed and changed and changed. I do think he should have core principles and then you should build on those principles. And I do think that that is what was really important for him, that the players understood those ideas. And now we're seeing this next phase where he's able to shift and shape along with what the position is handling him. So I think he should stay, irrespective of if they go and win it. But I don't think it will be a very popular opinion. I do think that the league has been as bad as it has, that it would be understandable if people were saying that he has to go,
Yeah.
even if he won the Europa.
No, so the thing is, what you've said about having the core principles and still being able to change is really the hallmark here of why I think he should stay, because we're obviously seeing the trend in football with managers getting moved along way too quickly, in my opinion. And
I
so
agree.
this is why I feel like it needs to happen. There has to be a learning curve or a learning process, at least with these kinds of situations. And sometimes they come with difficult situations like these, where you have to just you find the situations and then your core values are able to still come to light in these situations. And yeah, I feel like you said you've mentioned this new phase. So now that Ange has maybe a foundation, and I think his best defense is back. I think the whole back line is back playing right now, and so hopefully from here we should be it should be able to there should be a springboard, I expect. But then I want to take you back a little bit to the Spurs that, well, I came to really like a era of the Spurs team, but it was the one on that Poch, as you would have probably guessed. But then that Spurs team were able to compete, really compete in the league, while also still maintaining a presence in Europe as well. I think they were in the Champions League. I remember a certain year, the time when you guys were still renting out Wembley. I think I have images in my head of Dele Alli and Ericsson finishing Real Madrid off 3-0. I think I still have. It was a
16,
2-0 or
I think it's 16,
16,
17. Off the
16,
top of my
17.
head, it might be
Yeah,
16, 17.
it might be. Yeah, I feel like it might have been 17, 18 too. But sure, around that
Yeah,
2016 to 18 era.
yeah.
Spurs, I also have that image of them in my head beating us 4-1 the day before my brother Matt IGCSC. That's the Dejan Lovren day. But anyway, that team. I remember they still had that presence on both fronts, on the domestic and European fronts. And I don't think
Yeah,
Ange has been able to hack that just yet. So we're talking about the summer is going to be really, really big for him. What do you think he needs? What do you obviously you don't know him directly, but then what do you
yeah.
think this Spurs team needs?
Well, in my opinion, I would say there are uh, I would say three positions that he cannot get wrong. That I do think I think so. Three positions are you must solve in the summer, and then anything on top of that is just good fun and it's smart business.
Mm.
The first one and the most important to me is that the team needs to sign another left-sided centre back. The reason why I believe this is that watching this team without any either centre back for any case and purposes was very difficult at times.
You mean either of
So
the main two?
what's yeah, and the reason why that is we need to understand the dynamic that Romero and Van de Ven share. So Romero and Van de Ven are two very front foot defenders. Romero far more front foot than Van de Ven, and when Romero steps up and gets out of line, he's able to, and it's a bit hard to watch at times because he's a very erratic, very impulsive player at times. It can be really fun when it works. It is a horror show to watch when it doesn't. But because he's so
It's those South Americans
intelligent,
for you, man. I'm sorry to be. Don't let me.
I
But yeah,
do think it is. I do think it is in part because he played so much in the three that
yeah.
he sometimes
Okay.
forgets that like he only has one partner
He only
now,
has one
as,
more man. Yeah,
as opposed to when
yeah.
you play in a two, in a three, and you can step up and the
Mm-hmm.
defender slide over. Anyways, he is a very front foot defender, but what he is exceptional at is playing the ball and progressing it and carrying it. Romero is intelligent. He has this really beautiful over the top ball. It reminds me a lot of Toby Alderweireld, where
Ooh,
such
different
he's
direction, but
so
yeah, I love that.
yeah, he is so intelligent in terms of understanding when and how to put ball over the top. I can't remember what goal this was. This would have to be a Kane. This would have to be a Kane goal against. Oh man, I really can't remember. But he looks up, he scans, and he pings one up to the top. Somebody heads it down, and boom, they're already over the top, and Kane slots home. It's a really lovely goal. But he's such an intelligent defender, one who is so capable and able to put out fires. He's such a good carrier of the ball. He can get a little, again, he's an erratic player, so he makes a few mistakes, but he's so good at the three most important things that I think a modern defender has to do. Now, you contrast him to Van de Ven, who is not, Van de Ven is, I think, is a better carrier, and he isn't as erratic, but because he is so fast, it's like he's almost playing BM and CB at the same time. It's like he gives himself so much space to defend.
Mm.
And because he's so quick,
Mm.
he's able to kill off a lot of attacks that come down on his channel. This is
So
why
smart. Yeah.
Dogu has been able to play as high as he has the entire season. Because it's almost like it moves into maybe not a three, because Poro on the other side has no issues getting up at the same time. But because
Yeah.
you have these two physically elite and
You're
physically
literally defending
intelligent
with two. It's
you're defending with two, and these the jobs they play are so difficult, which is why it made sense where eventually their bodies crack down, they
yeah.
got injured, and
Yeah.
this thing. Now the club has gone out and kind of has solved right centre back issue. I'm still a bit skeptical with Dragoshin
Oh,
and
Kevin.
Danso. Danso is
Yeah.
really Danso for me is the reason why I don't think it's an issue. Dragoshin I have a few issues with. He's Johnson is terrible on the ball. He's
Okay.
terrible on the
Very
ball.
good.
He
Okay.
sucks.
Good.
He's one of
Because
the
if you
worst.
were good, if you didn't say it, I was
He
gonna.
is one of
But
the worst ball playing defenders I've ever seen in my life. But I think there is a blueprint there for a really elite
yeah.
defender. If at any point in time he
Oh.
can figure out how to pass, I think I do think there is something with Dragosin. It's not all the way there. He's a little more raw than I think was anticipated, but he is still a very good defender, and he has a lot of like Romero-esque traits in terms of like being able to shut off fires
Agreed.
high up the
Yeah.
pitch. I think that he needs to get more confidence, needs to adapt to the system, he needs to adapt to life in England before he's able to like really get there. I don't want to sell all my Travis stuff because I was really excited when he decided to pick Spurs over Bayern. Makes no difference for me, but either which
Oh
way, I
yeah. Okay.
think
We'll get into that. We'll get into
we'll
that.
get into that. But yeah, I do think there is something there. But more importantly, Kevin Danso's ability. I think Danso is probably might be the best. I don't know if he's the best defender in the air. Maybe Romero is better, but he's really air. I think he's I think he's an okay. I think he's decent. I think he's Premier League decent level ball playing as a centre back, and it
Yeah.
just seems like he's able to play on either side. But I do want the club to go out and get a centre back who who is either maybe not. I think it would be very difficult to find and profile a defender that does what Van de Ven does, just because of how intelligent he is, but because of and the physical traits. You're not going to find anybody as young, as polished, who you don't have to work up to. I do think that they have to go out and get somebody who, at the very base least, is an excellent ball playing defender but is also smart at defending in the channels, or you
Yeah.
just go out and buy a centre back who can play left back.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because that to me is the next stage of having somebody who can either twin. Because I do think that the club at some point will have to go out and buy like a left back. I have enjoyed Spence this season on either side,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I do want them to go out and just have four fullbacks in total. Don't do this thing where you have three
You're fine as
fullbacks.
Spence as your third fullback.
I think Spence is excellent. I'm so happy with
Yeah.
him. I don't know if he gave him a new contract. I would give him a new contract. Get him arm around that kid. Tell him that
Yeah.
everything's going to be fine. You've played excellent this season.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked as good since that kind of run where he was really man of the match and everything. But I don't think it
Yeah.
matters. He's shown enough to me that I do think you go out, you give him a new contract. If they haven't already, they probably have. Um, and you tell that guy, don't worry about it. We believe in you now. We're not going to sell you. You're one of our guys. So your power is going to
That's
be
cool.
set. You're going to, oh my God, that was such a good goal. Sorry, Lisa just scored a
Oh,
wonderful goal.
are we at
Jesus.
Bayern right now?
Yeah, I'm watching Bayern right now. Lisa just scored one.
Damn.
Wow, that was
Olise,
gorgeous.
man.
That
Olise,
was
man.
that was
Olise, bro. I can't get enough of that guy.
gorgeous.
But I mean, I must have. I was having these conversations about wingers, and then before the UCL semi-final, I strongly had a claim that Olise was maybe the best, along, maybe the best right winger in the world, along with Saka. But I mean, that Champions League performance from Yamal shut me the fuck up.
You
Okay.
you you you're not what happened to Salah? You're not. Oh, was that his
Salah,
fifth
no, no,
goal?
no, 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 no. We're talking about the young gains here. We're
Oh, the
talking
young
about
kids.
the
Okay, the
young
young kids. So
gains
I was like,
now. Leave
really?
that. No, no, no. Leave the professor now. That's that's
Oh, wait,
another
that's
guy. But I'm talking about them youngers, bro. Like the next up.
sorry.
I
That
mean,
was a
all these
Kane
three
goal
guys.
actually. That was a Kane
That
goal.
was a
So
Kane goal.
came off his
I
head.
mean,
Came off his head. It's crazy.
what a moment, bro. What a moment. What a
Yeah,
moment. Before we move over to the red part of this convo, honestly,
yeah,
I just wanted to ask you quickly about the Champions League final because you're playing Manchester United, a team
yep.
that has been your, co-struggler in the league this season, but you have managed to win them in the three times that you faced this season. You played three games, and then I think you've won them twice in the Premier League without conceding, by the way. And then you also faced off in the EFL Cup where you guys won 4-3 on your way to the semi-final as well, which was also another, narrow. Okay, not really that narrow, but another coming close with the glory. Anyway, you're facing Manchester United for the fourth time this year, and you've beaten them three times. Does that give you a little feeling of a jinx? Do you think that there is a jinx that may be broken, or what do you think is going to? What do you think you guys can actually win or lose this game?
Oh man, this is. I want to be confident about this game, but there is something about playing United in finals that just makes you really uncomfortable. I don't really
Now that we're
know.
talking, I'm even irritated, man.
I'm just like, I don't know how to properly think and process this because I think that United are going to be annoying the entirety of this game. Um, so let's kind of break this down a little bit. So if we're just looking at this team, so Amarin has gone out. He's playing this three at the back system where he has these fullbacks. He has his Casemiro next to what now looks like Mason Mount or Manuel. I'm not entirely sure
Yeah,
what they'll go with on the day. Then you have your Bruno, you have your Ahmad, you probably have Hoyland or Xerxes. Um, on paper, on paper, it does seem as though United are going to go into this game favorites. Just looking at like odds and scores and stuff like that, what like sports books are saying and everything like that, it does look as though United will go into this game as favorites. But and I'm trying not to be confident because I do think that they have kind of the Bilbao tie and the Leon tie irrespective of
yeah,
talent, irrespective of talent, is more of an indicator of like a very resilient team. A
yeah.
team that
Honestly, bro.
is
Honestly,
a team that clearly like is engaged. Like I do think that
yes,
this is still a team that you can kind of get at. And I'll be really interested to see what the first 15 minutes of this game looks like. Because I do think that
bro.
Andrew kind of feel it out, try and see what United is what it looks like they're going to give them. I would if I had to say it right now, I actually do think that Spurs would probably be a bit comfortable giving United the ball. Just because, with the exception of Bruno, I don't think that this team has many exceptional like creators. I don't think they has like any game breakers in my
Only
opinion.
thing is, I
Like
feel like unfortunately Mace might be back, bro. Mason Mount
I I
might
I
just
don't I
be
don't I don't buy it. I just don't
be
buy it.
okay.
I don't
No,
buy
no
it. I
problem. No, I
I
hope
think
it doesn't affect. But then, I mean, I think
I
he's on the
if
rise again,
if he scores in that final, like I'm just ready to make peace that we don't have a chance whatsoever. But the reason why I'm just saying that I just don't see it's just the sample size is too small. He plays such
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
his game has never really been predicated on like this like innate ability to score and like assist. And he's not a creative player. He's almost like a box to box midfielder where
Yeah,
his
right there,
most
right place, right time.
exactly right place, right time, and his engine, if anything, has always been his best quality. Just his ability to run, make an impact in the
Yeah,
game.
I have to
Just
agree with you there. Unfortunately, yeah,
so I would be really interested to see like how and I've always had a thing that if you're a team that's playing with a two-man defense with a two-man midfield, it's always interesting to see a two against a three because Spurs are going to play three
yeah,
midfielders. I'm going
yeah.
to play three midfielders. If I had to guess right now, it's going to be a midfield composition of Kulusevski, Bissouma, and Bentancur. Bissouma is the one that kind of worries me a bit because he's a little bit inconsistent, but on his day and across the two legs against Bodo, he was really, really good.
I think he'll turn
Shut
up. I
down,
think he'll turn up if it's the
yeah,
pylon. I expect
yeah.
him to.
He was really, really, really engaged. He was really shutting out fires. He knew how to take on pressure. He knew how to beat the press. This is a really intelligent footballer on his day. It's just can you get him on his day? So it
Yeah,
should be interesting to see what a midfield of a at least in a physically sense, a physically washed Casemiro and one of Mason and probably Mason Mount have to do against what is, I think, a pretty physical and hard running midfield.
yep. And
I
fit
don't
midfield. Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
Spurs are going to have any reservations in terms of allowing United to build up. I don't think that I don't think that this is a very impressive creative side, with the exception of Bruno. I really do think that they might put two guys on Bruno at any given time and let everybody else see if they can figure it out. You know, Ahmad is still a very impressive player. Hoyland, if he gets firing, is kind of an interesting player. Garnacho is not the
I
kind of
like the
guy
way he is.
that's, yeah, Garnacho is not the kind of guy that personally puts a lot of fear in my heart. Personally, I just think he's not a very intelligent decision maker. He's a good player, but I
Me
just
too,
don't
but
think
then
he's,
exactly, he's just
it's
on.
just,
He's kind of one of these players. I feel like they're just so inevitable, and
he's,
yeah, and I agree with you about the decision making. I don't regard him as a smart player, but
yeah.
he just has that thing where he's just going to get on.
So I can be saying all this now and then United hit us for three and, it doesn't really matter.
No, no, I don't think so.
But
I don't think so.
but I do think that there is at least some kind of blueprint here. And the good thing for Spurs for us is that we've beaten them three times this season. I think that they're going to rely a lot on I think Ange is going to tell them that, this is a team that, don't be complacent, don't be silly, don't think that this is a team you can walk over, but there's nothing to be scared of. It's just like right now,
Mm-hmm.
no offense, United
Mm-hmm.
is just a badge. It's legacy, it's history, but it's just a badge. Go out there,
Yeah,
you've beaten them three times this season. In the 3-0 game at Old Trafford, we were drastically better
amazing,
than
bro.
them. We were
Yeah,
drastically better than
the
them.
Van de Ven one, right?
Yeah,
That
we
was it.
were
Yeah,
we were
amazing
drastically
stuff.
better than them. Even in the 1-0 game, I thought that was a really mature performance because they went out, they got the goal early, and they managed the
Mm-hmm.
game state the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as I'm concerned, even the cup tie when it was 4-3, that game was one-way traffic for a long time. And then Spurs they defend a completely that was Gray, Dragoshin, and Fraser Foster, that defense,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
the,
yeah. In the EFL,
where,
yeah,
where 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 we basically handed them two goals. So
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, I do think that this is a team that should feel confident. I would feel a little bit better if like Matters was healthy, if Bergvall was healthy. We're not going to have those two guys, and I think those two guys are crucial
Oh yeah.
players.
No, are they out confirmed?
Yeah,
Madison specifically.
Madison is done for 3 months. He's out for 3 months.
Oh,
Bergvall won't see the pitch this season again. So so
that's terrible, bro.
that doesn't
Amadis
that
was on it, bro. He was actually on it.
Madison probably would be one of our top three players in the Europa League this season. I think
Yeah,
what he gave us this season just in that competition cannot be understated, and he should be,
yeah.
if we lift the trophy, be one of the first players that goes on to lift the cup. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of gutted for that,
Yeah,
but
that's
I do think there is a configuration here and there is a team that can be put out that's, United are going to United are the team that I do think there's more pressure on there is pressure on us because we need to go out and win a trophy.
yeah.
With our first one
Hmm.
since 2008. Yeah, 2008. But I do think that United is the club that is going to get all the media attention. It's the one that people are already picking them. The sports books are already saying
That's
that,
favorites, right?
they're the favorite. So I do think there is a bit more pressure on that and on them. So we'll see how it all goes. I really hope and all these and this analysis I'm having is right. It will be
Yeah,
really
it'll
disappointing
come down to
to get all the way here and still not come home with a title, but that's just football. So we'll see how it all goes.
okay, we're going to see how it goes on the 11th. I think it was the 21st of May.
21st, yeah,
That's
21st.
yeah, that's on a Wednesday, man. So
Yeah.
we're going to see how the Europa League final goes. And my luck, all my good luck is for Tottenham Hotspur, man. You know how I feel about Manchester United, so fuck
Yeah.
those guys. All my good luck to you and let's move over to another topic, bro. So I know you um also like another team.
Mhm,
You also like another European team,
mhm.
Bayern Munich to be specific. And then I also know, permit me to say that been you've made the move to Munich,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so you're actually getting to be in the same environment as a club that you actually have, some emotional ties to, some support to,
Mhm.
which is
Yep.
what a lot of guys our age would dream about, bro. So
Yep.
first of all, just tell me about that and like being close to Bayern Munich physically, like just being physically close.
I think it's really cool. In particular, anytime I take the train to school in the morning, I always pass the Allianz Arena in the morning. So
Oh,
even just
that was
seeing
the
like,
first. That was I would say that was the first European stadium that I properly fell in love with.
yeah,
Properly, the way the
it's
lights turn in the night and the way it's engineered, everything. I properly still today I'm in love with that stadium.
it is. I haven't had an opportunity to go to it just yet. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that closer to when the next season starts, because this is their today they're playing right now. They're playing Borussia Mönchengladbach.
they're playing out there right
Um,
now.
yeah, then this is their final home game of the season. So
Oh,
So it's right. It's not ideal in terms of being able to see them this season again. But next season for sure, I want to go and see a game and definitely at least go to the stadium because it's pretty surreal just looking at it from the train. But I can't imagine what it would be like in person. It's a little more grand.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
this is a city that kind of not even just a city. I do think just living here, it's I don't want to make any grand sweeping assumptions about Germans in general, but I do think that there is a pride that does come with Bayern Munich, not just in Bavaria itself, but across the country where, this is the team to play for in Germany. And
Oh,
so being
yeah,
able to
yeah,
see a lot
of
of like the
course.
motifs, graffiti, all the stuff just within the city where it's not as if like all Germans are like buying crazy, like that this is the club of
Mm-hmm.
their life or anything like that. But the ones that you see here and there, like people wear the jersey like very casually. It's a club that's it's a really cool club. I was even looking into getting membership because you can become like a like
That would be great.
a member of the club. It's like 33 euros, something
Oh,
like that.
that would be great.
Yeah.
97 will be members by association, man. That would be great.
But yeah, so it's been a really cool experience. I haven't gotten to get the full experience in terms of going for a game, rooting for the team, But I've
Yeah.
seen there's a team shop down by city center that I was able to just look into. It wasn't my goal for the day, so I didn't go into it. But you see the jersey everywhere. You see how much the people who do love the club, and on match days it's crazy people going down to the stadium and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, it's been a really cool experience, especially just knowing that if I want to see them play, it's just there. You don't have to do that whole preparation of do this and that. It's just down there. You take one, you get on. I would have to get on two different trains, but it's a journey of maybe 40 minutes at max. So
Yeah, not
it's
long.
just not long at all. It's just right there. It's a team that's won the league, so it's you're never going to be watching a bad team, so to say. So it's just really cool for
Hmm.
them to be in the same city as a club you support, and just being able to know that at any given time and just go down and see what it's like.
That's privilege, bro. That's amazing, man. Honestly, I wanted to also talk about the fact that the Allianz Arena is hosting the Champions League final this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
And
You're correct.
we've had the. I also I know that in the Conference League final, I know it's there's going to play that in Warsaw, and I feel like Legia had Legia don't think made that far, and then also in the Europa League with Bilbao making the semi-final, but they couldn't get all the way. Bayern Munich fell away. I mean, let's say a bit early. So, how would you generally rate Bayern's performance in the Champions League this season? And do you think it's been made a little bit better by the fact that Inter were also able to go on and defeat Barcelona as well?
I do think that there is like I do think that in general, Bayern is a really they're a very ambitious club. If I've learned anything, both being here and just prior to that, is that Bayern is always a very ambitious club that has very set and specific goals. You win the league, you are super competitive in the Champions League, and any other trophy that is on any front, you must make an effort to, at baseline, be in the final. So it is one of those clubs where, like, if you can't accomplish at least two of those at any given time, there is like real pressure on your job. Now, company is a little bit fresher. And he's young, he's still working through the pieces of him as a manager, but he's won the league. I don't believe that they won. Don't believe that. I don't think that's what
No,
happened.
no, no.
No, they didn't. And even irrespective of the Champions League performance, I do think that he came across a very, very good Inter team. One that is very well structured, Foot has a manager that is at the very height of his powers, and quite frankly, company was just outcoached. I had a chance to go down to um so in Germany, in Bavaria specifically, we have, I think you've heard of the Oktoberfest, where lots of
Oh,
drinking, lots of beer,
yeah, of
um
course.
lots of it's very cultural. Germans love so it's a very cultural time. The place I went down to watch the first leg is this place that during Oktoberfest is the biggest place that people go down to go and like have beer, have fun, have like excitement, and the atmosphere
Oh,
just
okay.
there is you could see like there's people that don't even think about the game, but every now and then it's like Kane makes a chant or he's the bar and it's like shit, also so people get
Yeah.
really into it, and it's something that the
Yeah.
expectations of the city and of the club, it's like I said, Germans are very, I wouldn't say nationalistic, but they have a lot of pride in who they are, where they come from, and most importantly for our conversation, their club. So, in terms of the Champions League, obviously, the club is not happy any year it doesn't win Champions League. There's like maybe three or
Yeah.
four other clubs on the planet who have this exact mindset. So, of course, by no means was it a great season on that front, but I do think that there are things to take away. I do think that it was a good effort. And Inter is a very, 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 very talented team, and a team that is deserving of making it to the final.
Eh,
So in that sense, I do think that there is a belief that we just came across a very good team, and that under different circumstances we could have been in the finals, hosting the finals in our city with the chance to lift it in front of our fans. So there is that as well, which
mhm.
is always very cool. So, but yeah, I say all this to say that yeah, it is a club that at any given time wants to win everything that is possible, and they treat it as such. So
That's really good though. So and then you're talking to me about Thomas Muller playing his last game
yeah,
for Bayern Munich right now. Please, can you confirm to me that that is true?
it
And
is.
how come he won't be playing the last game of the season when they're going
Yeah.
away?
Sorry. So the misunderstanding is that this is his last home game. So this is his last game, his
Okay,
home game
fair
in
enough.
front of specifically like Bayern
The
fans.
fans, yeah,
It's where the match
of
going
course.
in city fans and everything. He will almost definitely still play the finale, which I believe is against, off the top of my head, I have the clue, but we're going to find out as I'm searching
I
it
think it's
here.
Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim. Yep, you're right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he'll still
Hoffenheim.
definitely play against Hoffenheim. That will still be a cool experience. But in terms of being in front of what has been, I think a lot of fans, I don't know if fans would call it his living room. I did see it a bit earlier here today. Somebody said it's been his living room. This is a Bavarian kid who grew up supporting Bayern, has
Yeah.
played for Bayern his entire
Oh,
life.
he's a Bavarian kid.
He's a Bavarian.
No way.
He's from Bavaria. Yeah.
No
So
way.
so
No way. That's dope. That's
this
dope. I didn't
is
even know.
this is essentially like a childhood kid playing for his childhood club,
Yeah.
and he has
Legend.
been legend. He's won everything that there has been to win rather, sorry, and he's done everything that you would want to do at the club. There are very few players, so your Beckenbauers, your Lambs, even Neuer to a
Mm-hmm.
degree, who are more
Mm-hmm.
Bayern
Mm-hmm.
than Thomas Muller. So that to me is one of the greats, and it's a bit saddening to know that this is the kind of end of it, ushering out of one of the greats. But that's a guy that deserves everything because he's given so much to the club. He's always been there. One of the at his peak, one of the best players I've ever seen. One of the most unique players I've ever seen. A player that essentially has a position named after him, and
Yeah.
few players have been able to replicate
Is
what
that, are
he's
we
able
talking
to do.
about the Ram Deuter here?
Yep,
Oh no.
yeah.
Like
So
he is the Ram Deuter.
he is
He
the
is.
run better. So
Yeah.
it's been very cool on that aspect. And Bayern has always been the kind of club that Bayern has always been the kind of club that even when you retire
Another goal?
and
No.
you saw what? Oh no, no,
No, I thought
no, I looked over because I saw somebody giving an interview. I thought it was more. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I thought it was more than
oh, halftime interviews, bro. Why don't we have that in the Prem? Come on. Prem needs to catch up, bro.
I would hope
Prem
so.
needs to catch
But yeah, I do think that that's the kind of guy that when he retires, in some capacity, he's going to be still involved with the club. I don't know if he's going to. I have a personal preference. I would hope that he does retire, just because like I want him to be a one club man. I want him to
Yeah.
have only played for this club and to have been
Also,
played.
he hasn't even announced his retirement, but he just says he's leaving Bayern.
Just yeah, so he just says he's
Oh,
leaving Bayern, which makes me believe that he is going to play for another club, which is a bit sad. But
probably Yankee. Probably he might go
oh
MLS.
yeah, for
Mm.
sure, for sure. So, but I think even after that, he's going to retire. He's going to come back to Bavaria. He's going to come back to Munich, and he will be involved with the club in any means and shape that he wants and they need from him. So it's a relationship that I think is going to last a lifetime. And for as long as he is alive and as long as the club is in existence, he will be associated with it, and he's always going to welcome back with open arms. So it's really cool in that sense.
That's great, bro. That's great. One more place before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Harry Kane. I
Oh,
know this. Harry Kane is the guy. He's the guy. He was at Tottenham. He's a Tottenham Hotspur legend. I would have loved him to stay in the Premier League because I wanted a guy from my generation. I basically saw Harry Kane coming through. So I wanted to have that guy that would go on and break the Premier League all-time scoring record. The guy that I saw with my own eyes. Thank God for Mohamed Salah, but Harry Kane though. Harry Kane, he eventually left Tottenham Hotspur. This phenomenon that I feel like he left for Tottenham Hotspur for a lot of money, by the way. But anyway, this big guy in a big fish in a small pond. Let's say, when is the right time to move? Will he ever move? Will he stay and be the Mister One Club man? But he actually did make the move. He actually made the move, and then for a better career, let's say. And then he got there and he wanted to win trophies, right? He got there, his first season didn't go as planned. That was the year that Bayer Leverkusen decided to be possessed, right? But then now we can finally say that Harry Kane is a trophy winner. He's won the Bundesliga with Bayern. And now, what do you think? First of all, how do you see the whole situation? He's moved from one of your favorite clubs to another of your favorite clubs. So been connected with him the whole time, but then you've seen him finally succeed and get that chip off his shoulder. So what do you now think? Because I feel like Harry Kane is still one of the best strikers in the world. He still has the ability to kill teams anytime on his day. So what do you think is the next step for Harry Kane and this Bayern Munich team?
Okay, so yeah, so it's been firstly let's just get the thing out of the way. It's And there isn't a guy for me in sports who has been more deserving of being able to finally get this thing off his back, where it's just, he was ridiculed for the entirety of his stay at Spurs as either, go on, why don't you make that move? What are you darling over? What are you waiting for? Go out and win things, and to his credit, Kane made it an effort for as long as he possibly could to try and win for and at Spurs. He made
Mm-hmm.
so many efforts and so many attempts. He was so good in every season. I can remember him watching him play. I've never seen a striker who is just as intelligent, as good as a playmaker and as a finisher. His all-round game is perfect. He's great in the air. He's an incredible penalty taker. Probably for me, the greatest penalty taker I've ever seen with my two
Oh my
eyes.
god, bro. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Incredible,
The
incredible,
penalties, bro. I don't
incredible.
know. I don't know. I had been saying this phrase. I feel like I might have said this to you about having a penalty on my life.
It would be him.
The one player for me, yeah, it was Harry Kane. I
Yeah.
mean, forget. Let's just pretend like the 2022 World Cup never happened because honestly, I did not. That was one of the most unexpected moments in football history, even for me, sir. Harry Kane missing that much, that big of a penalty, but still, the fact remains, but that guy is a monster on a dead ball and on a moving ball. And it's striking. If we're talking about ball striking, you don't have one or two more players better than Harry Kane in this world.
100%. So for that guy who has given his life to the sport, who has done everything for this club to finally say, you know what, I need to do this thing where I can go out and I can go and win a trophy and I can get this thing off my back so that, people can say that people can recognize him more as just a talent, but like he's a real winning player. And to his credit, he hasn't gone there and just coasted. He has been probably the best player in Bundesliga this season. Incredible goal scoring season where I want to say it was 34 league goals this season. 20, so no, so it was 20. This was 36 last season. He's on 24 right now in
Yeah.
29, 36 and 44 in all
Wow.
competitions. By his standards, probably still not a great season. He's still been incredible.
Yeah.
So we're still talking
It's still
about
really good by anyone else's standards, not Harry Kane.
exactly. So, but to come on to the second question you had asked in terms of what do I think is the next step, I do think if I had to game it and kind of project it, Kane Kane is Kane will probably play another. He's 31 right now. Turns 32 in July. I think Kane will probably play until he's about 37 or 38. This essentially gives him, I would say, two more seasons at Bayern where I think he will
Mm.
go out. He's going to win as many trophies as he can in that stretch. At which point he will return to Spurs and go on and break. He wants. There is no question by any. Harry Kane will come back to Spurs and he will play until he breaks the Premier League.
Clip
He will
this,
break the record.
baby.
He
Clip
is
this.
going to do it. You don't need to. I
I
guarantee you. There is a buyback clause in his contract
yo.
to come back to England. Where,
Oh,
yeah, it was.
Magnus is just learning that.
Yep, it was. There was a buyback.
Magnus is just learning
There was a buyback clause put in his contract when he signed with Bayern that allowed him to come back to Spurs. Um, and I also believe that he had the right of first refusal. So if at any point in time any other team puts in a bid for him, Spurs is allowed to match it, and he can make a decision as to if he wants to make that jump back. He will come back to Spurs and he will break that record. At which point he would have won his titles at Bayern. He's going to be. He's already probably. He's for me the greatest Tottenham Hotspur player ever. I don't forget Jimmy Greaves was incredible. We've had so many
that. Smash
icons and
that.
so many legends, but this to me is the guy who is. There is not a more sports player. Even your Levy Kings was an incredible servant, but this is the
Mm-hmm.
guy. So he's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to break the record. He's going to do it in Lily White, and then he'll retire and whatever he
Amen.
wants to do,
Amen to that.
whatever he wants to do,
I'm on board.
he's going to be great at it. He's just such a he's I don't ever like to assume things about people because I don't know what he is outside of football, but there is not just watching the interviews, watching him speak, watching him just as a person and watching him essentially grow up. There is such a beauty to Kane, the person and the player in terms of he's so humble. he's so hardworking. He cares so much about his family and he cares so much about his
Gives a
club
fuck, bro.
that
He
that
gives a
is
fuck.
that he really does give a fuck. So this is a guy that's when he's done, he's going to be revered at Spurs, and I really hope that after this is they're not going to forget because this is a club that's had a lot of great strikers, especially recently with Lewandowski. So it's not a club that is fiending for legends. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination it's going to be a legend, but I think he's the kind of player that people are going to remember. Hey, remember when Kane played at Bayern Munich? He's going to be one of those
Hmm.
kind of guys, and when he does come back to Spurs, it's going to be met with complete adoration. The fans are going to love him, and for him to have been able to have won abroad, come back home, I really do hope that at some point he is able to lift his trophy with Spurs. Hopefully, the infrastructure is there, and it's a really good team when he does return. But all the same, whenever he does, when he does, yeah. So not if when he does, it is going to be a really incredible time, and I'm so happy that he's been able to win that Bundesliga, and hopefully there's more to come. Maybe Pokals, hopefully a Champions League, because that guy just really does deserve it, truly.
Well, bro, that was a beautiful way to end that. Honestly, so beautiful, and I am now on board. I mean, you've carried me on this train, man. I'm here, man. And now I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
But before I let you go, I'm so sorry. Something has been a bit bugging me. If you are on the audio, switch over to the YouTube right now because there's a painting at the back or that is behind Daye that I've just been. I'm so sorry. I haven't been able to take my eyes off it since we started this, and I've just been saying, okay, I will just leave the. I would leave that till the end of the episode. So that looks. I don't know why. It's been attracting me for so long. Can you just tell me about that?
This is not even, it's not mine. I'm staying at an Airbnb at the moment while I find a place in
Oh,
Munich. I
okay,
don't know if I can take this off the wall. If I can, I will. If I can't, oh okay. So it's not too hard. So it's like
nice.
I think I don't want to insult the artist in case it's like a serious painting. I think it's a child's painting, but I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I thought to.
I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know what it means. I don't know entirely what it's about. But
I don't know why. It just looks cool to me
it
though.
is so cool. I think it's kind of cool that the hotel has kind of put this up here. I'm not entirely sure who painted it.
Yeah.
I really wish I could give somebody a shout out or something like that. I look at it basically
Yeah,
twice
yeah.
every day. So yeah, that's the art I'm dealing with right now. Just there hanging in the back.
Nah, cool. Cool. We love art on over here. So yeah, that was a nice pick out. But Dai, it's been amazing catching up with you again,
Yeah,
man. On
man.
the football front. It's good to know you're looking good, bro. And I hope you have a great time out there. And yeah, it's been a really good episode of the 97 Football Show once again. So do you want the people to find you out anywhere? Is there anything you're working on that you want us to know?
At the moment, not really. I'm just working on my master's at the moment, here in Munich.
Yeah,
So I hope that we will probably come back and do this again. That's to me is the most important thing. Make this a little bit more regular.
for sure.
Can't say I will always
For
have
sure.
time because my master's has taken up a lot of my time, but whenever it's
Hey man.
possible, just let me know. And I really, it has been really cool to come back and do this again. We were the ones that came
Yeah.
and this was our show for a very long time, very, very, very long time.
Yes.
And so to come back and do this again has been such a pleasure. Hopefully we can talk more ball a little bit more often. So right now, not working on anything too much. Do have the Twitter die out a Hellcat. Same on Instagram. But yeah, I don't have anything going or working, so nothing really interesting there. But yeah.
Hey man, yeah, it's been Dai. You, if you know, you know. If you were here from the start, you definitely know this is a big link up, and
Absolutely.
we hope to see you guys soon. It's been Supermark from the Night 7 Football Show, and it's been Dai once again. So we'll see you guys later.
See ya.